Hello, Panther fans, and welcome back to the Panther Comms podcast. This is an Intel brief, and today we're talking about tight ends, more specifically the tight end room for the Carolina Panthers.
Flows, touchdown, Panthers!
Now, if you've been anywhere near some type of media source about the Panthers, even before the draft, people have been talking about our tight end room like, it's just not that good. And, that carries some weight. What I'm going to do for you guys today is touch on our tight end room, how it fits into Canales' scheme, and also give you somewhat of a history on the progression of what is known as a tight end position in the NFL.
John Mackey.
In my opinion, John Mackey's the greatest there ever.
Right. So thanks for joining us. And by all means, please subscribe, like, and stick around because this season is going to be something for the books. This is the Panther Comms podcast.
Blue 80. Blue 80. Subscribe. Say Omaha. Subscribe.
Today's the Intel brief is about the tight end position, and more specifically, the public conversation around whether the Carolina Panthers have good enough at tight end. We'll see about that. That conversation needs a little more structure, okay? So thanks for joining me. Because when fans talk about tight end, a lot of the time, they are really talking about, one thing, which is where's the star, right? Where's the Travis Kelce? Where's the George Kittle? The Greg Olsen replacement, right? That is understandable. I mean, those are some dynamic players, and they really do a lot for their team. But Carolina fans, remember, we know what tight ends play like when they are at that level. I mean, Greg Olsen is probably going to be a Hall of Famer.
He's not the fastest, he's not the strongest, but you might say he's the best going right now.
I'm just saying. But the tight end position has always been bigger than just receptions and fantasy numbers. Okay, and that's what we're really talking about here. Historically, the tight end started as a hybrid job. Part offensive lineman, right? Part receiver.
Tight ends, when I came into the game, were kind of an extension to the offensive tackle. They blocked most of the time. I caught 12 passes my senior year in college.
Part pressure valve for, quarterback for years, right? The position was mainly attached to the formation as a blocker. Now, if you want to talk about size, you can think about people like, Antonio Gates.
Out of the shotgun, Rivers, quick slant to the near side. Antonio Gates lowers his shoulder.
Which is a dynamic receiver, but he was a big dude, big Gronk. Again, big guy. And there were some big heavyweights out there that can actually move and get down the field, but it's evolved over the years. But, back in the day, people were just big and just getting out there and just punching somebody in the face. And you can kind of attribute this to people like Shannon Sharp, really transformed that position into more of a vertical threat, space operator that can, give the quarterback some type of outlet. Okay. If you guys remember names like Mike Ditka, John Mackey, they helped prove that a tight end could hurt defenses in the passing game.
That may sound like hyperbole, but people get pretty hyped talking about our number 2 tight end.
It's amazing. He is unbelievable.
First effort, second effort, third effort. He's taken his team, put it right on his shoulder.
But the modern offensive threat tight end really accelerated with Don Coryell. You guys heard of him?
Don Coryell was already a local fan favorite. At San Diego State, he won more than 80% of his games with an innovative passing offense that shattered numerous collegiate records. Don
Coryell. Kellen Winslow, the Chargers back in San Diego, that was the shift, right? And then, of course, came Shannon and so on and so forth. The tight end became more of a chess piece, a mismatch, right? And that's what Panther fans are looking for. They're looking for a mismatch. Move across the formation, attack the seam, box out defenders, force the defense to declare coverage. That's the key word, declare. I'm just saying. And if this information is fitting for you as a football fan and as a Carolina Panther fan, hit that subscribe. All right.
Blue 80.
A dangerous tight end, by declare. A dangerous tight end makes the defense tell you what it's doing. And Panther fans know this position, again, very well. Wesley Walls was the bad boy. He was one of the first major offensive weapons in Carolina Panthers history. Yes, sir. He gave the franchise real tight end identity early. that gave us the ability to run the football effectively too. You know, he had big moments, red zone production, Pro Bowl level respect. You know, Wesley Walls was not just a blocker. He caught a few balls. He was part of the Panthers becoming a real NFL threat. Yeah. Then came Greg Olsen.
If the free safety comes down when you zoom across and 55 unravels, we're leaving that guy for you. He becomes the strong safety.
Now, we had some tight ends before that, but Greg, man, coming out of Chicago, and that was huge. That was huge, especially for Cam. And to have him and Jeremy Shockey, another one, I really hate that Chud couldn't stick around for another couple of years and really work with Cam with those two tight ends. Oh my gosh! But anyway, Greg Olsen changed the standard in Carolina. That goes without saying. He was Cam's answer, right? He worked in the middle of the field. He understood leverage. He was where Cam Newton expected him to be. They had a great chemistry. Most Panther fans understand that. He gave Carolina rhythm, trust, okay, and down stability. So from 2014 to 2016, Greg Olsen was just the guy.
I'm sure he's been in some serious pain and still played through it because his teammates were depending on him.
He's at the top of the food chain if you're looking for tight end.
A solid threat. And he became the first tight end in NFL history with 3 straight 1,000-yard receiving seasons. So yes, Panther fans are conditioned to want more from that position, me included. But who are we working with, right? You know, that part is fair. I get it, but who are we working with here? But here's the part that needs more balance. Let's talk about balance, okay?
Say Omaha.
The current Panther tight end room is not being built around one superstar profile. That's not the point. The point is to win games. The point is to sustain drives and keep the defense on their heels. That's the point.
Hubbard in the backfield. Young throws for the end zone. Caught. Touchdown.
So, you know, with Tommy, Jatavion, you know, Mitchell Evans, James Mitchell, and we got depth pieces behind them. This is not an empty room. This is a room Carolina has invested in, and for a reason, right? We just got Jatavion JT. We just got him in 2024. Big Evans, you know, and he contributed last year, some big catches on getting first downs, touchdowns in the red zone.
Panthers down by 4, closing into the 2-minute timeout. Bryce Young got his man! Touchdown! Mitchell Evans! And the Panthers take the lead!
We just drafted him. All right, and we got Tremble on a contract for good reason. I mean, he's a heck of a blocker, if you people understand that, and the energy he brings on the field. The chemistry he has in the locker room, you know, he and Chuba are good buds, man. You want to keep that continuity. You want to keep that kind of energy in the locker room. It's more than just flash, okay? I mean, that's one of the reasons why I wanted to make this video. The front office is locked in. They looked at the roster. They understand. You guys understand how Dan Morgan is operating, right? And they chose to spend resources elsewhere. What does that tell you? Right? We're not speaking from emotions here, folks. We're speaking from evidence. What does that tell you? As calculating as Dan Morgan has been with two drafts with an A+ rating, you don't think he knows football? I'm just saying. And of course, let's talk about Dave Canales here. Canales does not need the tight end to be one thing. He needs the room to let the offense become multiple. Okay? That's why it centers back to Bryce Young. His ability to go through checks, reads, things of that nature, audible at the line, right? You have to account for the tight end, but you don't have to hone in on him. That's a problem. That gives us extra surface in the run game. He can move the tight end around. He can attach the tight end to the LOS, play action, leak, protection, help, red zone body, third down outlet, formation disguise. What is the value? I mean, that's the value. In 2025, Carolina leaned into multiple tight end personnel. The Panthers used 13 personnel, 3 tight ends on the field at one of the higher rates in the league, y'all. There's a reason for that. We don't focus in on one tight end. Okay? We need more help on defense still. Heck, we might even have to bring in a running back here. But it gives us roster flexibility, right? So we can drop somebody off of the back end of this tight end room and bring in somebody if necessary. All right? It's flexibility. It's roster flexibility, and that's very important. They are using the position to shape the run game. We had another 1,000-yard rusher on this team last year. It's unfortunate that he stayed banged up. I'm talking about that guy that went to the other team that we got to play this year. Yeah, we talk. Anyway, I'll get into that in another video. When it comes to Bryce, the tight end room comes back to the quarterback. It does. A tight end can have talent, sure, but the production only shows up when the quarterback trusts the landmark, the timing. That means you need to have consistency in practicing. Okay. And the body position. Tight ends win in tight spaces, right? They do not always win with, 5 yards of separation. They win by sitting in zones. And you saw that a lot from Tommy last year. And Evans being where he was supposed to be when Bryce was coming out of that play fake, right? And that naked boot going on. It's important. It's far more important than having one stud. So that takes time. Having those type of tight ends on your roster and having that type of relationship with your quarterback, that takes time. That takes repetition. That takes quarterback trust. This is where Bryce Young matters, right? And this is where Dave Canales matters. If Canales and Bryce are aligned, which they are, the tight end room can be productive without becoming the headline of the offense. The tight end can help Bryce stay ahead of schedule. I'm just saying. It can give him answers, against pressure. It can give him middle field rhythm. It can support the run game and create play action credibility, which is one of our more dangerous play calls, right? That play action can be really dangerous, right? And that's a reverse side too. We can have Bryce drop back as if he's going to pass and hand it off to Chuba for a nice chunk, right? It's all about balance. Okay, that's why the room is fine. The tight end room for the Carolina Panthers is just fine because it's all about team. It's not about that guy. A well-oiled machine is a lot harder to stop than 4 tires on a pretty car with a shitty engine. Fine does not mean finished, right? We don't have the best tight end room in the NFL by far. If you're looking at just the room, right? It doesn't mean elite. Fine means functional. Young is invested in it. The Panthers do not need to force a tight end panic, right? Because they do not currently have another Greg Olsen. I mean, there's not a lot of Greg Olsens. Heck, there's not a lot of George Kittles out there right now. There's not a lot of Kelseys out there, right?
Travis Kelce has now reached 1,000 receiving yards in 7 straight seasons, more than doubling the next closest tight end. Statistic GOAT. Every single stat that matters from an offensive perspective, he leads everybody at the tight end position.
I'm saying these people are special for a reason, okay? But it should not distort the evaluation of the current room, okay? The better question is this: can this group give Dave Canales enough formation flexibility? Yes. Can this group help the run game stay multiple? Yes. Can Sanders grow as a receiving option if he stays healthy? Yes. Can Tremble remain the tough, versatile piece? It seems that way. So if those answers trend upward, and you can go watch the film, all 22 is still available if you have access on NFL.com. The room is doing its job. That was not a plug for the website of NFL. I'm just saying where the video source is there, and I use it. The public may want a headline name. Get it? It is what it is. Sports is big business. You got to sell those jerseys. But the offense may need something more practical, dependable bodies, flexible packages, and tight ends, the quarterback, and play caller trust. That is the Intel Brief, ladies and gentlemen. Thanks for checking out the Panther Comms podcast. You guys stick around. Monday in the box and Whiskey Golf Wednesday will be heading out week 1. All right, so after the Bears game. And please, folks, subscribe.
Omaha, subscribe.
Like, comment, tell your folks about this, especially if they're football fans. This goes beyond the Carolina Panthers, but it's all about the Carolina Panthers. Thanks for checking out the Panther Comms podcast, Intel Brief. And as always, keep pounding.